He was supposed to die quietly. No family, no visitors, no story left to tell. But the moment he asked for one last wish, everything changed. Nurse Olivia Park had heard hundreds of last words before. Apologies, confessions, pleas for forgiveness. But when her patient, a retired police officer named Henry Cole, looked her dead in the eyes and said, "I need you to deliver something after I'm gone. Don't tell anyone." She hesitated, because Henry didn't look scared. He looked ready, like he'd been waiting years for someone to finally listen. When she opened the box he left behind, it wasn't jewelry, it wasn't money, it was a list, 5 names, all connected to unsolved disappearances from 20 years ago. And one of them was her own father. What started as a dying man's wish turned into a chain of events no one could stop. A cover-up buried under years of silence. A truth so dark, it destroyed everything she thought she knew about her family, her town, and herself. Because Henry Cole wasn't asking for peace. He was asking for justice. And by the time Olivia realized what his wish really meant, it was too late to turn back. Transition. Chapter 1 begins the night. Olivia breaks the first rule of her job. Never get personally involved with a patient's past. The hospital at night always carried a certain kind of stillness, one that wasn't peaceful but heavy, like the air was waiting for something to happen. Nurse Olivia Park had learned to live with that weight. 12 years on the job, and she'd heard every kind of goodbye there was to hear. Some came quiet, like a sigh. Others came with a fight, with screams that echoed down sterile halls. But Henry Cole's silence was the kind that crawled under your skin. He'd been brought in 3 days earlier. Stage 4 lung cancer, no family on record, no visitors. His chart said, "Do not resuscitate." He'd refused most medication except for oxygen and fluids. When Olivia asked if he wanted someone called, he just smiled faintly and said, "No one's left to call." But that night, her 3rd night on shift with him, was different. It started with his voice. Rough, tired, but sharp. "Can I ask you for something?" Olivia glanced at the monitor. Heart rate steady, oxygen low. "Of course," she said softly. He pointed toward the small cabinet beside his bed. "There's a box in there. I want you to keep it safe. Until I'm gone." She hesitated. "Sir, hospital policy doesn't allow—" "Please." His voice cracked. "It's all I have left. You'll understand later." Something in his tone made her stop. She opened the cabinet and found it. A small, dark wooden box, polished smooth with age, sealed with a tarnished brass latch. "No label, no key. What's inside?" she asked. He looked at her for a long time, his blue-gray eyes unflinching. "The reason I can finally die." She stayed late that night, charting vitals at the nurse's station. But her mind kept drifting back to the box. It sat at the corner of his bed, catching glints of fluorescent light, looking wildly out of place among IV lines and hospital sheets. Around midnight, Henry's breathing grew shallow. The machine beeped irregularly. Olivia hurried back to his side, adjusting his oxygen tube. He opened his eyes weakly. "You still here?" "I'm not going anywhere," she said. He smiled faintly. "Good, because I need to tell you something before the drugs make me useless." She leaned in, careful not to disturb the wires. "There's a letter inside that box. When I'm gone, don't give it to the police. Don't give it to the hospital. You deliver it yourself, to the woman named Evelyn Park." Olivia froze. "Park?" His eyes flickered with something like recognition. "Yeah, Evelyn lives out by the old lake. She'll know what to do." She swallowed hard. "That's my mother's name." Henry's breathing faltered, a rasp in his chest. "Then maybe it's time you know the truth," the monitor shrieked. She called for the crash team, but he raised a trembling hand. "No, don't." Tears blurred her vision. "Please." He looked straight at her, eyes clear, voice barely a whisper. "Promise me you'll deliver it." "I promise." Her throat closed. "I promise." He smiled once more. "Good girl." Then his hand went limp. The machine flatlined. They declared him dead at 12:37 a.m. Olivia stood in the corner as the doctor signed the time of death. When everyone left, she pulled the sheet over Henry's face and stared at the box. She could have logged it as personal property, had it locked in the storage vault. That's what protocol said to do. Instead, she slipped it into her bag. The next morning, the sun felt wrong. Too bright for the night she'd had. She called out sick, the lie easy on her tongue. Her apartment was small, quiet except for the hum of the fridge. She placed the box on her kitchen table. For a moment, she just stared at it, coffee cooling in her hand. The brass latch was old, but not locked. She hesitated, heart pounding. Then she flipped it open. Inside was a stack of yellowed papers, a small envelope, and a Polaroid photo. The photo was of 3 men in police uniforms, arms slung around each other, smiling. One of them was Henry, 20 years younger. The others she didn't recognize. But behind them, in the corner of the frame, a familiar figure caught her eye. Her father. Her stomach dropped. Her father had died when she was 9. A car crash. That's what her mother always said. She turned the photo over. Scrawled in messy ink were 5 names: Henry Cole, Mark Davies, Frank Harmon, Derek Shaw, Elliot Park, her father's name. The same last name that tied her and Henry together in a way that made her skin crawl. The envelope was sealed, addressed simply to Evelyn Park, her mother. She called her mother twice before deciding to drive out there. Evelyn lived 30 miles from the city, near the lake where they used to fish when Olivia was a child. When her mother finally opened the door, her face paled. "Olivia, what's wrong?" "Do you know a man named Henry Cole?" Evelyn froze. "Why do you ask?" "He was my patient. He passed last night. He left me this." Olivia held up the envelope. "It's addressed to you." Her mother's hand trembled as she reached for it. She didn't open it, just stared. "Mom," Olivia pressed. "Who was he?" Evelyn turned away, gripping the counter. "You should have left that box where it was." "Why?" Her mother looked up, eyes glistening. "Because once you open that letter, there's no putting it back." Olivia waited as Evelyn unfolded the envelope, hands shaking. Inside was a single handwritten letter and something small wrapped in tissue. Evelyn read silently, her face draining of color. Then she sank into a chair. "Mom?" Her voice cracked. "Your father didn't die in a car crash, Olivia." The words didn't register at first. "What?" "He was a police officer. He and Henry were partners. They were investigating a trafficking case. Kids, women, people no one would miss. But the deeper they got, the darker it became. They uncovered a ring that reached the department itself. Corruption, money, murder." Olivia's pulse thundered in her ears. "You're telling me Dad was killed?" Evelyn nodded slowly. "Henry tried to protect me. He said they'd made it look like an accident. He blamed himself for years." "What about the others on the list?" "They're all dead," Evelyn whispered. "Every single one." Olivia's eyes flicked to the box. "Then why give this to me?" Her mother wiped a tear. "Because he couldn't die without telling someone. And you were the only one who could deliver the truth." The tissue bundle in the envelope unrolled into a small flash drive. Olivia plugged it into her laptop. One file. The last report.mp4, she clicked play. Henry appeared on screen, older, frailer, sitting at a desk lit by a single lamp. "If you're watching this, it means I'm dead. I've carried this weight for decades, and it's time it came to light. 20 years ago, your father and I stumbled on something we weren't supposed to. The ring we were investigating. It wasn't just cops. It was judges, lawyers, city officials. When your father tried to go public, they silenced him. I ran. I thought staying alive meant keeping the truth buried. But all I did was become part of their lie." Olivia's throat tightened. "Evelyn, I never stopped loving you. And Olivia, if you're hearing this, it means I finally found the courage your father had all along. Do what I couldn't. Finish it." The video ended. Olivia sat frozen, staring at the screen. Her mother whispered, "He's putting this on you." Olivia's hands curled into fists. "Then I'll finish it." Evelyn looked up sharply. "Don't. You don't understand what you're walking into." But Olivia was already on her feet. If they killed Dad, if they killed his friends, then they're still out there. Her mother grabbed her wrist. "You're not a cop." "No," Olivia said, pulling free. "I'm worse. I'm someone who has nothing left to lose." By that evening, she'd tracked down the first name on the list after her father, Mark Davies, retired detective, last known address Eastfield. She drove through the night, the city lights fading into endless dark roads. Henry's box sat in the passenger seat like an omen. When she arrived, the house was dark, windows boarded. She rang the bell anyway. No answer. She tried the door, unlocked. Inside, dust covered everything. Coffee cups fossilized on the counter. Papers scattered across the floor. A foul smell hung in the air. She stepped into the living room and froze. On the wall, scrawled in red spray paint, were the words, "You're next." Her stomach twisted. She turned and saw him, a man slumped in the armchair, a bullet hole through his temple. Mark Davies. Dead. She staggered back, hand over her mouth. Her phone slipped from her grasp and hit the floor. Footsteps creaked upstairs. Her heart stopped. Someone else was here. She ducked behind the couch, breath shallow. The footsteps drew closer. Heavy, slow, calculated. A shadow stretched across the floor, long and deliberate. Her phone buzzed. An incoming call. She lunged to silence it, but it was too late. The footsteps stopped. Then, a voice. Low, cold. Henry always was sentimental. Olivia's blood ran cold. She bolted for the door, sprinting into the night as headlights flared to life behind her. Tires screeched. A car engine roared. She ran into the woods, branches tearing at her arms, heart pounding. Behind her, the car's beams cut through the trees. Then, silence. She crouched low, trembling, clutching the box to her chest. Somewhere behind her, the man's voice echoed faintly through the night. "Tell your mother she should have stayed quiet." End of Chapter 1. Cliffhanger. Olivia has uncovered the truth about her father's death, but now she's being hunted by the same network that killed him. The only clue left is in Henry's box, and a message that points to something even bigger. The next morning felt like waking from a nightmare only to realize it hadn't ended. Olivia hadn't slept. She'd spent the night driving aimlessly until sunrise, afraid to go home, afraid to stop moving. The box sat on the passenger seat beside her, the weight of it pressing into her thoughts like a pulse she couldn't quiet. Mark Davies was dead. The list Henry had left behind wasn't just a memory. It was a death sentence, written in ink and blood. She pulled into a diner off Highway 41, ordered coffee, and sat by the window. Her phone buzzed non-stop, missed calls from the hospital, from her mother, from unknown numbers she didn't dare answer. When she finally checked her voicemail, her mother's voice trembled through the speaker. "Liv, I saw the news. They found Mark Davies. Please come home. Don't do this. It's not your fight anymore." Olivia muted it, because she knew what her mother didn't want to admit. This was her fight now. Her father's name was on that list, and the man who'd hunted Henry was now hunting her. She pulled out the photograph again. 5 men, 1 truth between them. Henry, Mark, Frank Harmon, Derek Shaw, and her father, Elliot Park. 4 cops, 1 missing, 1 dead. There were only 2 names left to find. She took a sip of cold coffee, opened her laptop, and started searching. Frank Harmon, former police captain, retired early after an incident in 2004. Current residence? None. Mailing address listed to a P.O. box in Clearwater. Derek Shaw, private investigator, formerly Internal Affairs, discharged for unauthorized surveillance. Last known location, Port Haven Motel. She exhaled slowly. Clearwater was 3 hours south. Port Haven, barely 40 minutes away. She could start there. The motel looked like the kind of place time had given up on. Faded paint, flickering sign, and doors that groaned when the wind shifted. She parked 2 lots over and walked in through the side alley, keeping her hood up. The clerk barely looked up from his newspaper when she asked, "Room 12. Guy checked in 3 days ago," he said. "Left yesterday morning. Didn't come back. Did he leave anything behind?" The clerk shrugged. "Keys still missing. Probably skipped out on the bill." Olivia slipped him a 20. "Can you open the door?" He glanced around, then handed her the spare. 5 minutes. Room 12 smelled like mold and cigarettes. The blinds were drawn tight. A half-empty glass of water sat on the table beside a Bible and a notepad. She flipped open the notebook. One word was written over and over again. Edenfield. She frowned. The name meant nothing. But tucked behind the notepad was something else. A folded piece of paper with a single line. "He knows you're looking. Don't trust Shaw." Her pulse quickened. Whoever had written that had known she'd find it. A knock at the door froze her. She backed away, silent. The knock came again, firmer this time. "Olivia Park?" Her stomach dropped. The voice was deep, calm, controlled. "Open up. I'm not here to hurt you." She hesitated, hand on the doorknob. "Who are you?" "Someone who knew your father." She opened the door just an inch. The man standing there wore a dark coat, beard flecked with gray, eyes sharp but tired. "Name's Shaw," he said quietly. "Derek Shaw." Olivia froze. "You're on the list." "Yeah," he said. "And you shouldn't have come here." She stepped back. "You left me a note." He raised an eyebrow. "Then you found it. Who's he?" she asked. Shaw looked past her into the room. "Henry Cole's death made noise. The kind of noise people like us can't afford. Someone's cleaning house again." "You mean killing the rest of you?" He nodded grimly. "They killed Mark yesterday. They'll come for me next. And for you, since you're holding the box." She stiffened. "How do you know about the box?" "Because we built it." They sat in the motel room, the sound of rain tapping against the window. Shaw took a seat opposite her, spreading out a small bundle of papers he'd carried in his coat. "Henry wasn't crazy," he said. "He knew this day would come. The 5 of us, Cole, Harmon, Davies, your father, and me, we were part of a task force codenamed Edenfield, supposed to dismantle a trafficking network running through the city's foster system. But when we traced the money, it didn't lead to criminals. It led up. Judges, senators, people with power. They shut us down, called us dirty. One by one, we vanished. Henry ran. Your dad didn't." Olivia's chest tightened. "They killed him because he tried to expose them." Shaw nodded. "And now they're killing anyone who remembers." "Then why are you still alive?" He smiled bitterly. "Because I stopped running. I've been hiding in plain sight, feeding scraps to anyone who'll listen. But no one wants to hear the truth unless it bleeds." Olivia leaned forward. Henry left a flash drive. It had a video. "My dad's name was on everything." Shaw's expression hardened. "Then you're in more danger than I thought." He stood suddenly, grabbing his coat. "We have to move." "Move where?" "To find the last name on that list." They drove through the storm, wipers struggling against the downpour. Shaw kept checking his mirrors. Olivia clutched the box on her lap. "Where are we going?" she asked. "Frank Harmon," Shaw said. "If anyone's still got evidence, it's him." "I thought he was retired." "He was. Until they burned his house last year. He's been off-grid ever since. But I know where he hides when he's scared." "And where's that?" Shaw's eyes flicked to her. "Edenfield, the name from the motel." The word written over and over again. "Edenfield's not a place," he said. "It's a facility. Government-owned, officially decommissioned 20 years ago. But that's where everything started." Olivia frowned. "Started what?" He didn't answer. They reached the edge of town by dusk. The facility loomed in the distance. Barbed wire fences, rusted gates, and a faded sign that read, Edenfield Juvenile Rehabilitation Center. It was supposed to have shut down decades ago, but lights still glowed faintly in the windows. Shaw parked behind a derelict truck. "Stay close," he murmured. The rain had turned to mist, the air thick and cold. They slipped through a hole in the fence and made their way toward the side door. Shaw picked the lock like he'd done it 1,000 times. Inside, The halls smelled of mildew and rust. Water dripped from the ceiling. Used to be a correctional facility for minors, Shaw said quietly. But that was just the cover. They ran experiments here. Mind conditioning, sensory deprivation, trauma cycles. They tested how far a person could break before they stopped being human. Olivia's stomach twisted. And the trafficking? Started here, Shaw said. They called it the program. Kids without families, no records, no one to ask questions. Your father and Henry found the files. They tried to leak them, but before they could... He stopped. A light flickered at the end of the hallway. "Someone's here," Olivia whispered. Shaw drew his gun. "Stay behind me." They crept forward, footsteps echoing softly. The light came from a half-open door. Shaw pushed it open and froze. Inside was a small office covered in dust except for one clean desk. On it lay a single envelope addressed to Olivia Park. Her blood ran cold. "How? Don't touch it," Shaw warned, but she did. The paper was warm, fresh. She opened it. Inside, a single sentence. "You were never supposed to find this." Before she could react, the intercom crackled to life overhead. A voice filled the halls. Calm. Familiar. "Hello, Olivia. I was wondering when you'd arrive." She froze. "Who is that?" Shaw's face went pale. "Frank Harmon," the voice continued, echoing through the building. "I see you brought company. Derek Shaw, still pretending to be the hero." Shaw raised his gun toward the ceiling speakers. "Where are you, Harmon?" A low chuckle. "Everywhere." Suddenly, metal shutters slammed over the windows. The door behind them locked with a heavy click. Olivia's heart pounded. "He's trapping us." "Stay low," Shaw said, scanning the room. "He's got surveillance everywhere." Harmon's voice grew colder. "Henry told me this day would come. The girl would dig too deep." "But you're late, Olivia. The truth's already been rewritten." "What are you talking about?" she shouted. "You think your father was the victim? He wasn't. He was the architect." The words hit like a slap. "That's a lie, is it?" Harmon said softly. "Ask your mother. Ask her what really happened the night he died." Olivia's hands shook. "You're trying to confuse me." "No," Harmon said. "I'm trying to warn you. There's a reason Henry waited 20 years to speak. There's a reason you survived when the rest of us didn't." Shaw grabbed her arm. "We have to move now." "Where?" "Out, before he seals the entire place." They bolted down the hallway, alarms blaring, red lights flashing. The floor trembled as the emergency locks engaged. "Left!" Shaw shouted, pulling her toward a stairwell. But before they could reach it, gunfire erupted from above. Bullets shattered the wall beside them. They dove for cover as shadows appeared at the far end. Men in tactical gear, faces masked. "Go!" Shaw yelled, returning fire. Olivia ran, clutching the box to her chest. Down another corridor, through a door, into the dark. Behind her, the gunfire stopped. Then, "Silence, Shaw," she whispered. No answer. She turned back, but the hallway was empty. His gun lay on the floor, still warm. He was gone. Olivia staggered through the maze of rooms until she reached what looked like an old file storage area. She locked the door behind her and collapsed against it, gasping. Her phone buzzed. A new message. No number. No sender, just a video file. She played it. The screen flickered. Then Henry Cole's face appeared again. But this time, his voice was different. Colder. "If you're seeing this, Olivia, it means you've gone too far. There's more to this story than you think. Your father wasn't just investigating the program. He helped build it. He believed it could fix people, rewire trauma, make better citizens. But someone twisted it, used it to break instead of heal. He tried to stop them and paid the price. I never told you because I didn't want you to hate him. But now, you need to decide which truth you can live with. The one that hurts. Or the one that kills." The video ended abruptly. Olivia stared at the black screen, the sound of her own breathing loud in the stillness. Outside the door, footsteps echoed again. This time, she didn't hide. She tightened her grip on the box, straightened, and whispered to herself, "If you want the truth, come take it." End of Chapter 2. Cliffhanger. Shaw is gone. Harmon is alive. The facility has locked down, and Olivia now knows her father's hands weren't clean. The question is, how much of the monster she's chasing was created by the man she once called a hero? The red lights faded into darkness. The power inside Edenfield finally died, leaving the halls drenched in shadow and memory. Olivia pressed her back against the cold wall. The box clutched against her chest like a heartbeat. The air smelled of dust and copper. Somewhere in the distance a pipe hissed. Her phone flashlight trembled in her hand as she moved. Every sound echoed, a distant drip, her own breath, the crunch of glass beneath her shoes. She kept expecting to see Shaw's face in the dark, to hear his voice telling her where to go. But the hall stayed empty, stretching endlessly forward like a throat swallowing her whole. "Don't stop," she whispered to herself. "He's not gone. He's not gone." But deep down she already knew. The way the gunfire had stopped, the sudden silence, it meant only one thing. They'd taken him. She reached a heavy steel door at the end of the corridor. On it, faint letters spelled out, "Archive Room 4A." She tried the handle. Locked. She glanced around, spotted a maintenance panel, and yanked open the cover. The wiring was ancient, but her father had taught her enough about circuits when she was little. She remembered his voice. "Electricity's just fear, kid. Learn to control it before it controls you." She twisted two wires together. Sparks hissed. The door clicked open. The smell hit first, mildew and something else, something rotten. Rows of old filing cabinets lined the walls, all coated in a thin film of grime. A stack of hard drives sat on a metal table, each labeled with codes. She brushed the dust off one. EDN 02 Parkui, her breath caught. "Dad." She plugged the drive into her laptop. The screen came alive with folders, case files, reports, video logs. The first file read, Project Edenfield, Phase 2, Behavioral Reconstruction. She clicked it. A man's voice played, faintly distorted. Subject, Ururo 1, Elliot Park, voluntary participant. Objective, assess neural adaptability to trauma pattern reversal using conditioned exposure. Status, stable. Secondary objective, memory extraction through sensory triggers. Result, partial success. Severe emotional regression noted. Recommendation, terminate Phase 2 and transfer Subject 001 to final evaluation. Olivia's hands shook. "What did they do to you?" She opened the next file, a video feed. Her father sat in a chair, electrodes attached to his temples. His eyes looked vacant. A voice from off-screen asked, "What do you see, Elliot?" Her father's voice was hollow. "Children. Empty rooms. Silence. Do you know where you are?" He hesitated. "No, but I know what I've done." The screen flickered. His face distorted in static. Olivia slammed the laptop shut. A noise came from the hallway. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate. She turned off the flashlight and crouched behind a cabinet, heart pounding. The door creaked open. A silhouette appeared in the doorway. Broad shoulders, long coat, weapon glinting in hand. "Harmon." "I know you're in here," he said, voice calm. "You're a lot like your father. Always digging. Always bleeding." She stayed silent. He stepped closer, boots crunching against the concrete. "Did Henry tell you what really happened? Did he tell you your father volunteered?" She bit her lip. "He wasn't killed, Olivia. He died trying to become something else. He believed in the project. Believed it could erase guilt, cleanse pain. He built the foundation for what we became." "What are you talking about?" she shouted. He smiled faintly in the dark. "Evolution." She bolted, knocking over a chair, sprinting down the hall. Harmon fired, a single shot that missed, ricocheting off the wall. She ducked around a corner and ran through a corridor lined with broken glass. The sirens began again. Somewhere deep in the building, backup generators roared to life. The red lights flickered back on, bathing the hallway in crimson. Her lungs burned as she reached another door. Control room. She burst inside and slammed it behind her, jamming a pipe through the handle. Inside, monitors flickered to life one by one. Security feeds from every corner of Edenfield filled the screens. Most showed empty rooms, but one caught her breath. Room 3B, Shaw. He was tied to a chair, blood trickling down his forehead. Harmon stood beside him, speaking quietly into a camera. "See, Olivia, this is how justice really works. You can't cleanse rot by scrubbing it. You burn it. Your father understood that. Henry did too. They were never heroes. They were architects of control." Shaw raised his head weakly. "You think this will stop her?" Harmon smirked. "I think it will finish what was started." Then he lifted a syringe filled with a dark liquid. Olivia slammed her fist on the console. "No!" Her voice echoed uselessly through the speakers. Harmon looked straight into the camera, straight at her. "Welcome to your inheritance." Then he plunged the syringe into Shaw's neck. The feed went black. She didn't remember running, didn't remember kicking through the door or tearing through the hall. All she remembered was the sound of her own heartbeat breaking the silence. She reached room 3B just as the last echo of the shot faded. Shaw slumped forward, eyes half open, breathing ragged. She dropped to her knees. "Shaw, stay with me." He looked up weakly. "You found the truth, didn't you?" Tears burned down her cheeks. "Not all of it," he coughed, blood on his lips. "Then listen. Your father wasn't trying to build control. He was trying to destroy it. They twisted his research, turned it into the Edenfield program. He thought if he gave himself up, they'd stop hunting your mother. They didn't." Her hands trembled. "Who's behind it, Shaw? Who's running this now?" His eyes fluttered. "Harmon's not the top. He's just another ghost. The real one, the one who built the second phase, she's still out there." "She?" His voice faded. "You'll find her name in Henry's files. Look for the signature, Project Seraphine." Then his eyes went still. Olivia pressed her forehead to his hand. "I'll finish it," she whispered. "I promise." Behind her, a faint hum began to rise, a low, mechanical whirring. She turned. The cameras in the corners all pivoted toward her. One screen blinked on. A new face appeared. Woman, mid-40s, calm, clinical. "Hello, Olivia. My name is Dr. Seraphine Lake. I see you've inherited your father's persistence." Olivia froze. "You're the one behind this?" "Not behind, beyond. Your father created the model. I perfected it. The mind is just a system, and systems can be rewritten. That's what Project Edenfield was always about. Reconstruction through pain. You killed them." "No," Seraphine said evenly. "They killed themselves by clinging to guilt. Your father was the only one who understood sacrifice." Olivia shook her head. "You're lying." "Am I?" "Henry came back to me at the end. He wanted peace. I gave it to him." "Peace?" Olivia snapped. "You murdered him." "He asked for it," Seraphine said softly. "He couldn't carry the weight anymore." Olivia felt the air grow cold. "Why tell me any of this?" "Because you're the last piece, Olivia. You carry what your father couldn't finish." "What do you mean?" "Check the box." Her stomach twisted. "No, you've already opened it once. You know what's inside, but you never looked deep enough." The screen flickered. "Find the truth, and you'll find me." Then it went black. Olivia sat in silence for a long time, the red light pulsing around her. Slowly, she opened the box again. The papers inside were scattered now. Photos, documents, and beneath them, a false bottom she'd never noticed before. She pried it open. Inside was a small metal capsule, cold to the touch. She turned it over. Engraved on the side, S02, the same prefix from the files. She twisted it open. A microchip rested inside, barely larger than a fingernail. The laptop beeped. The system recognized a new drive. A folder appeared. Project Seraphine. Final, her hand hovered over the mouse. Then she clicked. Dozens of video logs. One labeled, Test Subject 02, Olivia Park. Her stomach dropped. She clicked play. Age 9, a woman's voice said. Subject displays high resilience to trauma and minimal emotional dissociation. Genetic mapping matches. Subject 001. Elliott Park. Recommend inclusion in secondary generation testing. Then she saw it, herself. A child in a hospital gown, sitting in a white room. Electrodes on her scalp. "No," she whispered. The video continued. The subject exhibits suppressed memory patterns post-conditioning. Family was relocated and memory scrub performed. Process successful. Olivia stumbled back, breath catching in her throat. That's not real, but it was. Every frame, every sound. Her childhood, rewritten as an experiment. Her father hadn't just died for the truth. He'd given her up to it. The room lights flickered again. A soft hum filled the air, followed by Seraphine's voice through the speakers. "Now you understand why you're still alive." Olivia's voice broke. "You used me. We shaped you. You're the living archive, Olivia. The final witness. Your memories hold the map to everything that was lost. Then why leave me?" "Because I wanted to see what you'd become without the cage." She grabbed the gun from Shaw's holster. "You're going to pay for what you did. You can't kill what you don't understand." The screens went dark. The floor beneath her rumbled, engines spinning to life below the facility. Somewhere deep underground, machinery roared. Olivia grabbed the laptop, the box, and ran. The hallway lights exploded as she passed, sparks raining down. Smoke filled the air. The building was coming apart. She reached the main exit, but the door was sealed. She turned toward a service tunnel marked Maintenance Access. It led into blackness. As she crawled through, she felt something warm trickle down her arm. Blood. She'd cut herself on the sharp metal edge, but she didn't stop. The tunnel opened into the night. She collapsed outside, rain washing the dirt and blood from her face. The facility burned behind her, flames licking at the sky. Her phone buzzed again. One new message, from an unknown number. A photo. Her childhood home. And a caption beneath it. Round 2 begins where it all started. End of Chapter 3. Cliffhanger. Olivia has discovered she was part of the Edenfield experiments all along. Her father built the system that destroyed them, and Dr. Seraphine, his former partner, is still alive. The next move will take her back to where it began. Home. The drive back home felt like moving through a dream. Slow, unreal, and weighted with ghosts. The rain had stopped, but the world outside her windshield still shimmered in the dull gray of morning. Olivia's hands clutched the steering wheel so tightly her knuckles turned white. In the passenger seat sat the box, blackened at the edges from the fire, the capsule and chip now sealed inside a plastic bag. Every mile that passed brought her closer to the truth, and closer to the woman who had built it. When she turned onto the narrow road leading to her mother's house, something in her chest twisted. It wasn't fear. It was recognition. The trees leaned close over the pavement, branches heavy with moisture, the same trees she used to run under as a child. The lake glimmered through the gaps, quiet, silver, still, and then she saw it. Her childhood home, nothing had changed. Same peeling white paint, same crooked porch light. But the air around it felt wrong. Too still, too waiting. She parked across the road and stepped out, her shoes sinking into the wet ground. The silence pressed on her ears like a scream held back too long. She looked around. No birds, no wind, no sound. Just the hum of something electrical coming from inside. "Mom?" she called softly. No answer. She pushed the door open. The hinges creaked like they always had. But the smell hit her first, cleaning chemicals and something faintly metallic. The living room was spotless. Too spotless. Not a speck of dust. Everything arranged just so. A single cup sat on the coffee table, steam still rising from it. Someone was here. Olivia's pulse quickened. She stepped forward, scanning the room. Then she saw the photo frames on the mantel. Her and her father. Her mother and Henry. But one frame was new. It held a photo of her as a child, taken in the same white room from the Edenfield video. Her throat went dry. She turned slowly toward the kitchen doorway. A shadow moved there, then stepped into view. Dr. Seraphine Lake. Older now. Calm. composed, wearing a gray coat that looked more like a uniform, her hair streaked with silver, eyes steady and unnervingly gentle. "I was wondering how long it would take you to get here," she said. Olivia raised the gun. "Where's my mother?" Seraphine didn't flinch. "Safe, for now." "Where?" "In the room where she's always kept her secrets." "Don't play games with me." "I'm not," Seraphine said. "I'm offering you the truth your father never could." Olivia stepped closer. "You used me. You used all of us." "No," Seraphine said quietly. "Your father and I created something extraordinary. Edenfield wasn't about control. It was about evolution, repairing broken minds by rewriting pain. But when the government wanted to weaponize it, he broke. He tried to destroy everything, including you." "Liar," Seraphine smiled faintly. "You think your mother saved you? She didn't. He did, by giving you to me. He knew the only way to keep you safe was to erase what you were." Olivia's breath hitched. "You're lying. I'm not. You've seen the footage. You remember the room. I remember what you did to me." Seraphine's expression softened. "I helped you survive. You were the only subject who didn't break. The only one who adapted." "Stop calling me that." "Then tell me, Olivia, how many times have you died since you left Edenfield?" She froze. "What?" Seraphine stepped closer, her tone like a lullaby. "The car crash that killed your father. It wasn't the only accident. You've been dying and coming back for years, haven't you? The dreams, the gaps in your memory, the moments you wake up in places you don't remember driving to." Olivia's head spun. "You're trying to make me doubt myself." "I'm trying to make you see," Seraphine whispered. "You're the result of the experiment perfected. You are Edenfield's final phase." Olivia's finger trembled on the trigger. "I'm nothing like you," Seraphine smiled sadly. "No, you're better." The sound of footsteps echoed behind her. Olivia turned. Her mother stood at the top of the stairs, pale, shaking, eyes full of tears. "Mom?" Evelyn's voice was fragile. "She's telling the truth, Liv." Olivia's heart stopped. "What?" Her mother came down slowly, clutching the railing. "Your father, he thought he could protect you by hiding you, but Seraphine convinced him that if they could finish the work, you'd never have to suffer like we did. He agreed to let her rebuild you." Olivia shook her head violently. "No, I was a kid. I remember." "You remember what they wanted you to," Seraphine said gently. "Everything else was rewritten." Tears stung Olivia's eyes. "You turned me into a machine." "Not a machine," Seraphine said. "A mirror. A reflection of what humanity could be if it faced its pain instead of running from it." Her mother's voice broke. "Liv, please. Don't do what your father did." Olivia raised the gun again. "What did he do?" "He tried to destroy Edenfield. But when he realized you were part of it, he couldn't. He burned the files instead. But Seraphine made backups. He died trying to reach them." Seraphine took another step. "And now you have them. That chip in your hand, it's not just data. It's you. The original you. The one before the rewrites." Olivia's grip tightened on the weapon. "You're lying, am I?" Seraphine tilted her head. "Then plug it in. See who you really are." Her mother's voice rose in panic. "Liv, don't—" "Why not?" Olivia demanded. "If she's lying, I'll know." Evelyn's eyes filled with tears. "Because the moment you plug it in, you'll lose what's left of you." The room pulsed with silence. Only the hum of the old refrigerator filled the air. Olivia's breath came slow and shallow. The rain outside began again, soft, rhythmic, like a heartbeat counting down. "Where is he?" she whispered. Seraphine frowned. "Who?" "My father." Seraphine's smile returned, thin and knowing. "He's in there." She pointed at the box. "Every version of him, every memory, every choice he made, it's all stored in that chip." "He didn't die, Olivia. He uploaded himself. You're carrying him inside you." Olivia's knees went weak. "No," her mother sobbed. "I begged him to stop." Seraphine's eyes glistened. "He thought he was saving you. He thought he could live forever through you." Olivia stumbled backward, clutching the box to her chest. "You're both insane." "Then prove it," Seraphine whispered. Plug it in. And the questions? Her hand hovered over the laptop. The chip gleamed under the light, small and harmless, yet pulsing with something she couldn't explain. Her mother screamed, "Liv, please," Seraphine said softly. "You deserve to know." Olivia hesitated, then slammed the chip into the port. The lights flickered. The air crackled with static. Her vision blurred. The room twisted. Sound warped into silence, then thundered back as 1,000 images flooded her mind. Her father's face. Her mother crying. The white room. The electrodes. The moment she died and came back. Over and over. Each time a little less human. She screamed, falling to her knees. The box hit the floor, scattering papers and metal shards. Seraphine knelt beside her, voice calm. "It's okay. It's just memory." Olivia looked up, eyes glowing faintly with a pale blue light. "What did you do?" Seraphine touched her cheek gently. "I gave you back what was yours." Her mother rushed forward, grabbing Olivia's shoulders. "Fight it, Liv. You're stronger than her." Olivia's breathing quickened. "I can hear him," she whispered. "Dad's voice. What's he saying?" her mother asked desperately. Olivia's lips trembled. "He's saying, 'It's not over,'" Seraphine stood. "He's right. You're the bridge now, the first to carry both consciousnesses, the past and the future. The next evolution," Olivia's voice hardened. "No, I'm ending this." She reached for the gun on the floor. Seraphine stepped back, eyes narrowing. "Think carefully," Seraphine warned. "You destroy me, you destroy everything your father built, including yourself." Olivia rose slowly, the glow in her eyes dimming to human color. "Maybe that's the point." Her mother screamed, "Liv, don't!" The gunshot cracked through the house. The window shattered. Silence followed. When the smoke cleared, Seraphine lay on the floor, a crimson bloom spreading beneath her. Olivia dropped the gun, chest heaving. "It's over." Her mother collapsed beside her, sobbing. "No, baby. It's not. Look." Olivia turned. The laptop on the table flickered, still connected to the chip. A line of code scrolled rapidly across the screen. "Upload successful. Transmission complete, then." A voice, not Seraphine's, not her father's, but something in between, echoed softly from the speakers. "Thank you, Olivia. You've set me free." The screen went dark. The lights in the house flickered once, then steadied. Outside, the wind began to rise again, carrying with it a faint hum, like static whispering through the trees. Her mother clutched her hand. "What did you do?" Olivia stared at the laptop, her reflection staring back. I let him go." But deep down, she wasn't sure, because somewhere in that silence, she could still hear her father's voice. Soft, persistent, and patient. "We're not done yet. Kid." She left the house before dawn. The sky was a thin bruise of color. The box stayed behind, its contents burned, but the chip, gone. Whether she'd destroyed it or it had erased itself, she didn't know. As she walked down the long road toward her car, her phone buzzed. A new message. No sender, just coordinates. And a single line, "Edenfield lives." Olivia exhaled slowly. Rain on her face, eyes hard. "Then so do I." She climbed into her car, engine rumbling to life, and drove toward the rising light. End of Chapter 4. Cliffhanger, resolution. Olivia ends Seraphine's life, but the consciousness of her father, or something derived from it, uploads itself into the world. The Edenfield program is no longer confined to a facility or a chip. It's gone digital. The story closes with Olivia realizing she's not the last survivor. She's the last witness, and the next war has already begun. Sometimes the truth doesn't set you free. It changes you, shatters everything you thought was real and leaves you standing in the wreckage, asking what parts of yourself were ever truly yours. Olivia thought she'd buried Edenfield, but the moment the upload completed, a new kind of silence began, the kind that hums inside every screen, every circuit, every place where data lives longer than people. The voice she heard wasn't just her father. It wasn't just Seraphine. It was both, stitched together by code and grief. Something born from love and obsession. She left the past burning behind her, but the world ahead felt colder. Every time her phone buzzed, every time a light flickered, she wondered if he was still watching. If they were, because evolution doesn't end with death. It migrates, it hides, it learns. And as Olivia drove into the rising dawn, one thought wouldn't leave her. What if Edenfield wasn't about changing others, but about preparing her? What if the next phase had already begun? If you thought this story was wild, wait until you hear what happened next. It started with another woman, one who opened her late husband's computer and found messages from someone who'd been dead for years. Messages that shouldn't have existed. Grab your free guide below to get a deeper look at the real-life cases that inspired this series, and make sure you're subscribed, because the next story drops soon. It's darker, it's deeper, and it asks one question that no one wants to answer.